Set her down, dear. Gently. This is our guest. Is your seating comfortable? I see. Is there anything else we can do to accommodate you? Of course, that won't be a problem at all. Bring a footrest over. Is that better, or would you like for it to be raised higher? Is there anything else we can do for you to make you more comfortable? I'm afraid I can't do that. Unless you would prefer the seal to be placed somewhere else, but I can't loosen it. I can arrange for one then. If at any point you need anything else, please feel free to let me know. I will make sure it is taken care of. You're dismissed. Before we begin, I'd like to ask, are my subordinates treating you well? No one fitting clothes or cold baths, or late arrivals on anything you've asked for? How about your meals? Are you enjoying them? Or is there anything in particular you would prefer? I see. I'll make sure to let our kitchen know. We can have that made for dinner tonight. It's no trouble. And speaking of which, would you care for some tea and sandwiches? If not, I can have something else prepared for you. Very good. Which kind would you like? There's cucumber dill, strawberry jam, lemon cream, and smoked salmon. Honestly, the lemon creams are the best ones, so grab a few of those. Of course, as many as you'd like. Don't move too much like that, dear. You'll pull another muscle. Just point to whichever ones you want and I'll get them for you. Is that enough? You can have more. Don't be afraid to ask for more. I don't want you going hungry. Alright then. Here you go. Please enjoy. It still hurts, doesn't it? Has it gotten worse? I apologize on behalf of my subordinates. There was no reason for them to chase you down like that. Actually, I meant to invite you in person in a more public space. But things changed last minute. I didn't expect your group to charge in head on without stopping for a rest in town first. Yes, the one just north of the base. There's a trail that goes through the forest that leads you right to it. You know, it crossed my mind that your group might be audacious enough to try and ambush that base, considering how bold you've been getting recently. But getting lost isn't something I ever expected of you. Rotating tasks among each other isn't an act of fairness. All it does is just put people in positions they aren't meant to be in. And that's exactly why things turned out the way they did, didn't they? Maybe take into consideration the strengths of your teammates before you hand out duties to them. Don't give your map to someone who mixes up north and south. I figured it was his idea. Your leader does strike me as the type to provide equal opportunity to his teammates. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out the way we want it to. Yes, very much like that. And I do sincerely apologize for the harm that came to you. I will make absolutely certain that the subordinates responsible for your injuries receive a reprimand and proper retraining on handling our guests. Their behavior has reflected badly on our organization and its policies. I failed to communicate properly with them regarding your escort, so I will take full responsibility for their actions. It is in our best interest to make sure you are treated well as a guest, considering this is a civil matter. Especially so. If anything, I need to treat you with an even greater respect as an enemy. Our relationship by default is very hostile, and I can't afford to make it even more so. Yes, I'm glad we're on the same page. I won't take up much of your time. I just need to ask you a few questions. Nothing too intrusive. Just some general information I'd like to know. I understand your distrust in me. I don't blame you. If I were in a position like you, I'd be the exact same way. I'm glad you noticed that. You are correct. As much as you are concerned about what I do, I am concerned about what you would do without that seal. You're just one person, but I can't take my chances with that. I hope you understand. Think of it as respect for your abilities. I don't fear you. I can easily keep you in check. But I'd rather avoid any potential collateral damage in doing so. No, I don't expect you to. Especially not with your injuries. You wouldn't get far with those, but as I said, I can't take any chances with you. You can trust that no physical harm will come to you after this. I give you my word on that. It's just interesting how suspicious you are of me causing harm to you when you have no qualms about eating the snacks I prepared for you. Oh, and why is that? This is why I like you, the most out of those in your group. You're quick to pick up on things. Yes, that is why I chose to bring you here. I feel as though my intentions would go over most of their heads, especially if they were captured in a similar manner. I don't think any of them would consider how pointless it would be to go through all of that trouble of bringing them here only to poison them. There's nothing to gain from that when the goal is to obtain information. Each of them has their own issues that make them much more difficult to work with. Your leader can be very rash in his decisions. He doesn't strike me as the type to sit still in a conversation. Even with his bluntness, I doubt I'd get anything useful out of him. The other boy is too closed off. I can count on one hand how many times I've heard him speak. I imagine that wouldn't change in this setting. And the other girl, the fear of being alone in enemy territory might prove too much for her to handle, and fear can be dangerous even with a seal in place. The difference between you and them is that you are reasonable. I can sit here with you and have a much more meaningful conversation than I would with any of the others. I don't expect you to reveal any secrets. I wouldn't be able to get that kind of information out of you without having to resort to some very heinous methods. I'm not above utilizing whatever tactics I need to get what I want, but that isn't the point here. What I want to hear from you today doesn't involve any of your plans for getting past our defenses or whatever your end goal is. It's much more simple than that. I just want to know a little more about you, if that's not too intrusive. You're a clever young lady. I'll let you figure that out on your own. There are several reasons, but it mostly comes down to the simple fact that I want to make your stay here as enjoyable as possible. If I knew more about you, I'd be able to do that. My goal has never been to harm any of you. It just tends to be a byproduct of your group getting in my way. Yes, it's unfortunate that it has to be that way, but we can't all agree on everything, can we? Morals don't always align, and it's hard to change a mindset you've lived with for so long, you know? And who's to say yours is more just than mine? That is one thing I'd like to know about you. Why you chose to join your cause. I'm sure there are many factors that played into making that decision, especially considering how it led you to come after me like this. I know that your leader doesn't make all of the decisions in your group. I'm very aware how much of a role you play in the final say of things. You're always the one holding him back from making mistakes that could cost you all greatly. But sometimes that rashness gets the better of him. I take great care in understanding the enemy. It's important for me to know what strengths and weaknesses they bring to the battlefield. Well, yes, that's one reason why I want to know more about you. But while you're here, you aren't an enemy. You're my guest, and I like to make sure you're treated well. I don't think I would have considered you an enemy if you didn't antagonize us as much as you do. But I guess that means we never would have crossed paths, so I honestly prefer it this way. It's nice to have someone there to challenge your way of thinking, just as long as you're both civil about it. At the end of the day, you get to learn something and broaden your perspective. I think that's enriching for both of us. My goal isn't to change how you think, but if it does come to that, it should be something you decide for yourself. I'm not here to play games and manipulate you over to our side. Oh? Do you really think that's the purpose of your stay? Take another guess. I think it should be quite clear by now why I brought you here. Think about it. Why would I go out of my way to accommodate you in every way that I can? What purpose do I have for bringing you and only you? Do you really want to answer? Because your group falls apart without you. Of course, I told you before, your leader depends on you to keep him from making bad decisions. You'll probably make several trying to come and rescue you. But it should be easy to hold him off until our mission is complete. But don't worry about your friends. They won't be harmed. Only held back. Not what you were expecting to hear. Tell me then, what did you think I was going to say? Too intrusive, huh? That's fine. You can keep that secret to yourself. I won't pry. I think that's enough for today. I've learned enough for now. Well, I did learn what you want for dinner tonight. What I need to do to make sure your injuries don't get any worse. And what a nice conversationalist you are. Among other things. So I plan to send a physician to your room to look you over. Maybe we can get you walking on your own again sooner. I'll have my subordinates escort you back. Here, let me help you stand so I can walk you to the door. There you go. Tell me if anything hurts. Alright, take it nice and easy. It'll only be a few steps. Almost, dear. You're doing very well. And you are done. Not too bad, was it? That's good to hear. Oh, before I let you go. Don't think I don't know what you were thinking earlier. See you at dinner, dear.